In this video, we're going to use decision structure to compare whether strings are equal or not equal. But keep in mind that we could also determine whether one string is greater than or less than another string. And this is something that you might have to do if you're going to try to sort or rearrange the order of strings. To do this, we're going to use a password program using if-else. And let's go down one line at a time and see what we have in the program. So we have a saved password, and we'll just have that assigned the value of Mary, M-A-R-Y. We're going to ask the user to enter a password into the system, and we're not really sure if the user knows the password or not. But the way we're going to find out if they do is by decision structure. So if the user's password, if what the user types in is equal to the password saved in memory, then that means that they knew the password. And we're going to print out the message that says, "Hello, Mary." If they guess wrong, if they do not know the password, it's going to be a false condition. It's going to jump down to the else block, and we're going to print out a statement that says that you entered an invalid password. So we're going to run this and talk about this a little bit more and try to explain what's happening behind the scenes. So first thing we have here is a statement to the user. It says enter your system password, and you could put any prompt that you would like in there. So we want the user to enter a password. And let's just say, for example, they do type in M-A-R-Y, okay, which is going to be hopefully a match to our system. So we'll find out in a few seconds. But before we do this, let's kind of figure out what's going on here. So keep in mind that what Python is going to do, it's going to compare one letter at a time, and it's going to use the values from the ASCII table that you might be familiar with. ASCII stands for the American Standard Code for Information Interchange, and it's commonly used for character coding systems. So within the ASCII table, the uppercase characters A through Z, okay, so your capital letters are represented by the numbers 65 through 90. And your lowercase letters, A through Z, are represented by the numbers 97 through 122. So any capital letter inside your string is going to have a lower value, a lower individual value than any of your lowercase letters. And what Python is going to do, it's going to compare one letter at a time, and it's going to go ahead and determine which one is bigger or smaller. So the real work is really happening within the if clause. So what we just typed in is going to be saved, remember, as user pwd. That's saved in memory as that. And we are going to have Python compare that to a saved password, which is actually a global constant in this program. So saved password is capital M-A-R-Y, and what the user, in this case, us for example, we just typed in capital M-A-R-Y. So are these equal? Is this going to be a true condition, or is this going to be a false condition? Let's take it one letter at a time. So capital M in my input, okay, so this capital M in my input has a value of 77. Capital M in my source code, in my global constant, is the same thing, value is 77. Move on to the A. Lowercase a has a value of 97. And again, that's going to match up with lowercase a in my global constant. The R, lowercase r, in my input has a value of 114. Okay, you can see that matches up there. And the lowercase y in my input has a value of 121, and that does match up. So each individual character is equivalent. So if each individual character is equivalent, the whole string is equivalent. So that means that what I typed in is equal to my saved password. And let's go ahead and press enter and let the if structure do its work. And there you go. So since they were equivalent in every single character, it was a true condition, and my print statement, hello Mary, is on the screen. Let's run this one more time. In this second example, I typed in something that's very close to my saved password. I typed in the name Mark. So this is very close. And let's see what's actually happening here. So once again, capital M has a value of 77 in my user input, and that does match up with my saved password. The lowercase a has a value of 97. That matches up. The lowercase r has a value of 114. That matches up. Okay, and now we have a k versus a y. So Python does not know the difference between a k and a y. It's going to look at the numeric value. So a y, if you remember, has a value of 121, and a k has a value of 107. What Python looks at is that 121 is not equal to 107. Therefore, these are not going to be equal strings. And since that was a false condition, it jumps down to the else block, where we have a print statement that says you entered an invalid password. So remember that when you test strings, you're actually testing one character at a time. And this will be very, very useful for putting names, for example, in alphabetical order. So one last look at the password program using decision structure, where we have the if clause testing the user input versus a saved password and making a decision whether or not the strings match up. Until next time.